Hello. Hey guys, a very good morning. Okay, we have started with the discussion of terminologies of accounting. So, first we have discussed about the generally accepted accounting principles. What is the meaning of generally accepted accounting principles? These are the principles will be applicable for the India. Only in India, these are the concepts will be applicable. In this, we are having the so many principles. One of the principle is called as separate legal entity. What is the meaning of separate legal entity? Owner is a different person and business is a different person. We have to think from the point of view of business owner. We have to think from the point of view of business. So here anything investment made by the owner into the business is called as a capital. So we need to repay capital to the owner or proprietor, we can call it as. So anything obligation to repay from the point of view of business means it is called as liability. For that reason capital is called as liability. So owner can invest in the form of cash or in the form of goods or in the form of any other asset. For example, owner is having one building. Okay, now in that building, in the first floor, owner will stay with the family. In the second floor, okay, now we are running the business. We need to pay rent to the owner for that reason. Okay, now this is the asset belongs to whom? Asset belongs to owner initially. For example, the total building was registered with the name of business means. With the name of business means that particular asset belongs to business. Okay, now the registered in the name of owner means that property belongs to owner. The registration is happening with the name of business means the particular asset will be belongs to the business. Okay, now owner can bring the cash, goods or any other asset. Next, what is the first basic meaning of business? Business is a place where goods are exchanged and services are rendered. What is the meaning of goods? An object or commodity, okay, now, which are purchased and resale or manufactured and resold. But we should not do what ma? We should not do use and resale. So if we are using that particular commodity or good, it is called as what ma? It is called an asset. Okay, now it is not called as good. Next one. What is the meaning of drawings? Anything taken over by the owner from the business for the personal user or business user. Personal use is called as a drawings. So here are drawings. Owner taken away the cash of rupees 10 lakhs. So owner need to pay to us or business need to pay owner. Owner need to pay the business. Are you understanding the concept? Sir, here in this situation, okay, now who has taken over ma? Owner taken over the good. So imagine we are having which business? Mobile business. On the date of February 14th, okay, now he has taken over the asset, one of the good from the business. Example what ma? Mobile. Okay, now that particular mobile given to some other person for personal use or business user. Personal use. So in that situation, we have to recover amount from the owner. Okay, now the situation is called as drawings. Who will give money to us? Owner need to give money to us on that mobile phone. Okay, now if you sell that mobile phone means we are going to collect amount from the customer, but we are selling that particular product. Owner taken away na? Owner taken away. In this situation, we need to collect amount from whom? Owner. but we should not write the owner name in the books of accounts. So instead of owner, we need to put the word called as what ma? Drawings. In the case of investment, instead of owner, we need to put the word called as capital. So if the drawings is an asset, drawings is an asset, capital is an liability, because we have to receivable. Okay, now we have to receivable from the owner. Anything the receivable is called as asset, anything repayable is called as liability. So what is the accounting adjustment, sir? From the capital, imagine we have invested in the form of how much ma? 10 lakhs. So owner have taken away the 1 lakh from the business. So net amount, how much amount we need to pay? 9 lakhs to the owner. Okay, now instead of we need to repay 10 lakhs and he need to repay 1 lakh. Instead of what we will do ma? We will set off that 1 lakh from the 10 lakhs, and totally how much amount we need to repay? We need to repay 9 lakhs to the owner. This is the accounting adjustment. So drawings we need to reduce or we need to decrease. We need to reduce or we need to increase. We need to reduce. Why we need to reduce? Drawings means, okay na, owner need to repay. Drawings means what ma? Owner need to repay. Capital means what ma? Business need to repay to the owner. Okay na. Here the 10 lakhs we need to repay. How much amount we need to collect from the owner? 1 lakh. By way of setting off, how much amount totally we need to repay now? Only 9 lakhs. If you pay means it is sufficient. So for that reason we are reducing the drawings from the capital. The behavior of capital is called as liability. The behavior of drawings is called as asset. Are you getting the point up to now? Okay, Namma. Next one. We are discussing the total discussion about the capital. First we will start with the what ma? Opening capital or closing capital? Opening capital. Then after we are going to reduce the drawings. We need to reduce the drawings. Next, interest on capital. What is the meaning of interest on capital? Here the capital is called as liability. On that liability we need to pay the interest. Okay, now we need to pay the interest means from whom we are going to pay? We will pay to the owner. Anything paid to the owner means we are going to add back. We are going to add back. Anything we have to receive from the owner means we need to reduce. So here drawings we are going to collect from the owner. For that reason we are reducing. Interest on capital we need to pay to the owner. For that reason we are adding. Next, interest on drawings. Who need to pay? Owner need to pay us. Okay, now drawings and interest on drawings owner will pay to us. Okay, now capital and interest on capital we will pay to the owner. So here this amount is the more ma. Imagine this amount will be more always. Okay, now 10 lakhs. Okay, now this drawings amount will be less. For that reason what we are doing? We are reducing. Are you getting the point? And interest on capital. We need to add or we need to reduce. We need to add, because this capital we need to repay and this one also we need to repay. So repay means we need to repay means we are going to add. Okay, now we are receiving means we are going to reduce. So next one, additional capital. What is the meaning of additional capital? In the for running the business we have required to get the more money from the owner. In that situation again he will invest into the business. That again investment, once again the owner invested into the business, that capital is called as additional capital. Okay, at the starting of the business he has brought that capital is called as opening capital. Generally opening capital means previous year closing capital will be the current year opening balance. Okay, now in the middle of the year again the owner invested into the business means that one is called as additional capital. What is the meaning of closing capital? Year ending closing. Okay, now current year closing balance is nothing but current year closing. Again this will be the opening for the next year. At last what we will do ma? We are going to adjust the profit. In case of profit means we have to give to the owner. For that reason we need to add. In the case of loss means we need to reduce from the capital. Why we need to reduce from the capital? Because owner need to give to us. Anything we are going to receive from the owner means we need to reduce. Anything we need to repay to the owner means we need to add. Okay na guys, is there any doubts? So what is the first point? Opening capital minus drawings plus interest on capital minus plus interest on capital minus interest on drawings plus additional capital. Then net profit we need to adjust at last. What nama? Net profit means add, net loss means reduce. Next one, what is the accounting equation we are having? Asset equal to equity plus liabilities. Why we are bifurcating the liabilities into two types? We have discussed in the previous class. How many types of liabilities are there? Two types: internal liabilities, external liabilities. Internal liability is called as a capital. Internal liability is called as capital. Why we are bifurcating it as internal capital, ma? Because okay, now we have to repay the capital, but at which point of time we are going to repay? Only at the time of winding up we are going to repay. That means having a sufficient time, have infinite time, infinite time period. So always it will be more than 1 year, less than 1 year. More than 1 year only. But even though it is more than 1 year, but we are at the time of disclosing in the balance sheet. At the time of disclosing in the balance sheet, first we need to disclose the capital, and then we need to disclose the non-current assets, and then current assets, like the, okay now. Next, long-term liabilities, short-term liabilities. What is the meaning of long-term liabilities? Repayable more than 1 year. What is the meaning of short-term liabilities? Less than 1 year. First we need to disclose what? Capital. Then after long-term liabilities. Then after short-term liabilities. When come to the assets, first we need to disclose the non-current assets. Okay, now fixed asset we need to disclose, and then we need to disclose the current assets. Okay, now this is the way of disclosure. In the liability, first we need to disclose what? Capital. Then after long-term liabilities. Then after short-term liability. In the assets, first we need to disclose fixed assets are non-current assets. Then after current assets. Next we are going to discuss about the modern approach. Okay, now while going to discuss the modern approach, so even though we are having how many categories, 6 categories, we have bifurcated. At last we have come to the conclusion that how many categories we are having? Only 4 categories. Assets and expenses will have expenses and assets will have the debit balance. Lext one, liabilities and incomes will have the credit balance. We have taken a shortcut of what, ma? Dealer. DEALER. D for drawings, E for expenses, A for asset. Okay, now these 3 are presented on which side? Debit side. For that reason we are concluding it as which balance? Debit balance. This liability, equity or capital, revenue or income is presented on which side, ma? Credit side. For that reason we are taking it as which balance? Credit balance. What is the meaning of debit balance? Debit side is more than credit side, it is called as a debit balance. What is the meaning of credit balance? Credit side is more than debit side, it is called as a credit balance. Okay, now if the debit balance increases, we need to do debit. If the debit balance decreases, we need to do credit. If the credit balance increases, we need to do credit, and decreases, we need to do debit. So once again, the debit balance increases means debit. Okay, now debit balance decreases means credit. Opposite, debit increase, debit. Credit increase, credit. In the case of debit decrease, credit. Credit decrease, debit. Okay, now so how? Okay, now at which point of time it will be increases, at which point of time it will, those are decreases, we can discuss in the further classes, no problem. Okay, now at now what is the conclusion? Drawing is an asset, and the next capital is a liability. Okay, now so to conclude, expenses and assets will have which balance? Debit balance. Expenses and assets will have the debit balance, and liabilities and incomes will have the credit balance. Okay, now if the, what is the meaning of credit balance? Credit side is more than debit side. Next we have discussed. Okay, now here this is the example. Debit side we are having the 10,000, and credit side we are having the 8,000. Which side is more? Debit side. This particular account is showing which balance? Debit balance. Okay, now next, what is the situation of here, ma? Debit side 10,000, credit side 10,000, debit side 10,000, 8,000. Sorry, credit side 10,000, debit side 8,000. Which side is more? Credit side is more. So because this particular account is showing which balance? Credit balance. So if you observe this scenario, for the debit balance, opening balance will be on the which side? Debit side. For the debit balance, closing balance will be on the which side? Credit side. Okay, now we need to write the opening balance means balance brought down, closing balance means balance carried on. For the debit balance, opening balance will be on the debit side. For the debit balance, closing balance will be on the credit side. The same scenario we have to apply for the credit balance. The credit balance, opening balance will be on the credit side, and closing balance will be on the debit side. Okay, now this is the points we have discussed. Opening and closing balances. Opening balance means brought down, closing balance means carried on. Next, for the debit balance, opening balance will be on the debit side. What we need to write ma? To balance brought down. To balance brought down. For the debit balance, closing balance will be on which side? Credit side. What we need to write ma? By balance carry down. By balance carry down. For the credit balance, opening balance will be on the credit side. We need to write by balance brought down. For the credit balance, closing balance will be on which side? Debit side. We need to write what ma? To balance carry down. To balance carry down. So these are the principle we need to remember. Okay na? Next we have discussed about the terminologies. So if you see the scenario, so totally we are having the two parts, right? So section A, they will give the MCQs, 15 MCQs. Each one carries 2 marks. How many marks? 30 marks. Section B, they will give how many questions more totally? 7 main questions. In that 7 questions, we are having the sub questions also. We are having what ma? Sub questions. Totally each question carries how many marks? 14 marks. Okay na, 7 questions, each question carries how much ma? 14. So but in that 7 questions, how many questions we need to attempt? We need to attempt only 5. That means 2 questions we are having the choice. If you observe this scenario, 2A compulsory, we can get question from depreciation or BRS, and 2B will get question from rectification of errors and capital and revenue. From these topics only we are getting how many marks ma? 14 marks. These are all the 4 topics we have already discussed, you already learned in the foundation itself. So that means once again you are not going to discuss, sir. I will discuss once again, because in the foundation you have learned only MCQs point of view. Here we are going to see the problematic point of view. Okay na guys. Next, consignment and bills of exchange. From both the topics we are getting how many marks ma? 7 marks. We are getting how many marks? 7 marks. Again these topics we have learned in foundation itself. In the foundation we are having the bills of exchange, consignment, joint venture. So in that scenario, from these 2 topics we are getting how many marks ma? 7 marks. Next, leases and hire purchase, a small topic. Okay na, easily we can get 7 out of 7 marks. Okay na. So again 14 plus 7 how much ma? 21 marks. We are getting from which syllabus? 21. ఓకేనా. వయ్యా నువ్వేమో తొందరగా ఉంటావు, కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అవుతావు, నన్ను కన్ఫ్యూజ్ చేస్తావు. ఓకేనా. 14 plus 7, 7 3s are and how much? 21. Totally 21 marks we are getting from foundation. Not only those 21, single entry is similar to final accounts. Single entry is similar to final accounts. How many marks we are getting? 14 marks. So 21 plus 14, 35 marks. 35. Then after we are having a concept called as NPO and provision for bad debts. Provision PBD, I think you have learned. Okay na. Again this topic for how many marks? 5 marks. Totally how many marks? 40 marks we are getting from which syllabus? Foundation syllabus. Okay na. That means 40 marks are easier or not easier? Easy. Easily we can get the 40 marks from the, even without revising another topics. Totally how many questions you need to write? 5. In that already 2 completed, 3 completed and 4 completed. Then how many questions you need to attempt? Only remaining 2 questions you need to attempt. Okay na. From that 2 questions, accounting standards will play a major role. If you learn the accounting standard 1, 2 and nearly 3 questions we can answer. Okay na. And extra you need to learn only what ma? Accounting standard. If you learn the accounting standards perfectly, then easily you can get how many marks? 80 plus. Easily you can get how many marks? 80 plus. What are the remaining topics we are having, sir? Remaining topics just partnership, insurance claims. That's all. Partnership, insurance claims, standards. Partnership, insurance claims, standards, hire purchase, leases. These are the 5 additional topics are there in the CMA Inter paper number 6. So easily we can get 80 plus marks. Don't worry about it. Okay now we are going to start with the basics, because I think you have learned the traditional approach, like what? Personal account rule, real account rule, nominal account. Now from today onwards I am not going to repeat once again what ma? Personal account, real account, nominal account. But some of the situations I will refer those also. But mainly we need to learn about which approach? Modern approach. In the modern approach, totally we are having how many categories? 4 categories. Even though 6 categories, we have Finally, divide into how many categories? 4. Asset and expenses will have the debit balance. If the debit balance increases, it will be debit. If the debit balance decreases, it will be credit. Next, incomes and liabilities are having which balance? Credit balance. Okay, now if the credit balance increases, it will be credit. Credit balance decreases, it will be debit. Okay, now when will the liability will be increases? At which point of time liability will be increases? Liability created. Okay, now in the situation of liability created, liability value will be increases. What is the meaning of created, sir? For example, we have taken a loan. That means liability created, liability repaying, liability created. Just now we are taking loan. Just now we have purchased the goods on credit. Okay, na in this point of time liability will be increases or decreases? Amma, increases. Just now we have taken a capital from the owner. Okay, na additional capital from the owner. In these situations liability will be increases or decreases? Increases. Why? Creation of liability. Creation of liability means taking cash or taking goods from the proprietor or purchasing the goods from the creditor. So these are all the situations liability is creating or repaying the liability. Liability is creating. In this situation liability will be increases. At which point of time liability will be decreases? Repayment of liability, repaying the loan. Okay, now next, then after repaying the capital, then after we are repaying cash to the creditor. Okay, now in these situations what we need to do? Liability will be decreases. Outstanding salaries, now only outstanding was happened. Okay, now in this situation liability will be increases. Okay, now at the time of payment of outstanding salaries liability will be decreases. In the same way asset comes in means asset increases, asset goes out means asset decreases. Always expenses and incomes are increases. In some of the point of situations only incomes and expenses will be decreases. I will explain in that situation. Okay, now until then always incomes and expenses are increases or decreases? Increases. When will the liability will be increases? Liability will be increases in the situation of creation. In the situation of creation liability will be decreases in the case of repayment. In the case of repayment asset will be increases in the case of comes in. Asset will be decreases in the case of goes out. You know, when the comes in, when the goes out. For example, we are purchasing the building for cash. We are purchasing the building for cash. Here both are assets. Both are assets. Both are having which balance? Debit balance. Okay, now building and cash. Okay, now what are the two outcomes? Building and cash. Both are the assets. Both are having which balance? Debit balance. But the building value will be increases, cash balance will be decreases. Common sense. We are purchasing the building means cash we are paying. Cash comes in or goes out? Goes out. Goes out means cash balance will be decreases or increases? Decreases. Building value will be increases. So building account debited to cash account is the journal entry. Are you getting the point? We can discuss in a slower manner only. Okay, now. So what are the extra topics we are having? Hire purchase, leasing, insurance claims, standards, partnership. Okay, na and extra we are having the branch and departmental. That's all. Okay, na so the syllabus, if you see the syllabus will be the vast when compared to the foundation. Why? We are having the extra topics. Okay, na from the foundation how many marks we are going to get? Nearly 40 from the descriptive point of view only. Nearly 40 marks from the descriptive point of view. We can get at least 5 MCQs from the foundation. Whatever the MCQs you have referred in the foundation, those MCQs only will be repeated once again in this situation. So how many marks? Nearly 10 marks from the MCQs point of view. That means totally how many marks? The same syllabus we are repeating in the CM main term, 50 marks. Minimum to minimum 50 marks you are going to get from the foundation syllabus itself. For that reason I need to explain again what? Basics onwards. Okay, now this is the main reason I am starting the basics. Otherwise no need, amma. Otherwise will be there or will not be there? Need is no need. Then I can directly start the higher purchase, those topics. But why I am not starting the higher purchase, those topics? Because we are having 50 marks. We will get minimum to minimum 50 marks the foundation syllabus. The foundation syllabus is the easy syllabus when compared to the intermediate syllabus. Yes or no, ma? So already you know all the concepts. Just what you need to do, that concept we need to apply on problems. That's all. Okay, now that thing I will take care. Okay, now guys. So you can be in a cool manner. Please listen the classes very cool. Then after, what you need to revise cumulative revision. And in the first class I have already told you what is the meaning of cumulative revision. Cumulative revision means we need to study the 2 days topics, and as well as we need to revise the yesterday's, day before yesterday's. So do the cumulative revisions. Okay, now please understand the concept and then try to write the journal entry. Don't mug up. What is the salary entry? Salary account debited to cash. What is the rent entry? Rent account debited to cash. If you mug up the in this stage, means you cannot go through the further stages. For example, if you see here, totally accounting. Here we are having 100 marks in the paper number 6, and again we are having the accounts in 50 marks in the paper 10. CA, corporate accounts and audit. In that, audit is 50 marks, accounts is 50 marks. But we will get nearly 20 extra marks in the paper. Nearly 70 marks you can get in the corporate accounts also. How many marks you can get? 70 marks you can get in the corporate account. That means how many marks totally? 170 marks in CMA Inter. And again in the CMA final, the same topics will be there. Some extra topics, that's all. 100 marks paper, CFR. If you clear that CFR, the total group will be completed. Group 4 will be there in the CMA final. Which group, Amma? Group here, group 1, group 2, there group 3, group 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the last group, again the first paper is called as CFR. Okay, now that CFR paper will be the difficult from the student point of view. Why? They don't know the basics. They have mugged up at the situation of foundation and inter. They have learned the entries in a batti antaru kada atla chesaru. In that at that point of time, the difficulty will be there or easily will be there. Difficulty will be there. Okay na guys. So please learn the concept. Not only the accounting, even though if you take the costing, DT or law, learn the concept manner. Law means what ma? You need to study the theory, means from top to bottom you need to study the theory topic. No, you need to understand the concept. They will give the practical questions. You need to attempt the practical questions. At which point of time you will attempt the practical questions? Only you understand the concept, then only you can attempt. If you take the accounts, totally how many questions we are having? 7. Okay, now 7 2s are 14 questions they will give. Imagine how many questions they will give. Nearly 14 questions. From that 14 questions, 8 questions we may get from the book. Remaining questions we will get outside. At that point of time, you need to attempt that question. You will leave. You need to attempt. Okay, now when you do the practice, when you solve the new questions, then only you can able to solve. You can able to write the exam with a perfection. While writing the examination, you may get doubt. Okay, yes, I am doing the right thing or not. Okay, now always remember one thing. I am doing the right. My answer only correct. What you need to think, ma? We are doing the correct. My answer only will be the correct. In that manner only you should be there. Otherwise, if you getting a doubt, means you will end up with the negative result. Okay, now what is the positive thing you need to think, ma? Like, always I will get the rank. Always I will study. Daily I will come to the class. First principle is called as what, ma? You need to come to the class daily without any absent. That is the first one. Second one is what? Only coming to the class is sufficient. No, you need to revise and you need to give the weekend examinations. Okay, now then only more and more number of time if you practice with the pen. Okay, now you should not audit. I think you know the audit. Audit means what, ma? Verification. Here if you take the example of final accounts, in the trading account, opening stock, here 10,000. Okay, sir also done the correct only. There also 10,000. Next purchases, debit side. There also debit side. Okay, here 1 lakh. There also 1 lakh. If you do like that, okay, na, while writing in the examination, only for the single entry you will take 1 hour. Only for the single entry, how many hours you will take, ma? 1 hour. The exam, total exam for how many hours? 3 hours. Then you are trying to attempt the partnership. Okay, na, it will take 1 hour. 2 hours completed. How many questions you have attempted? Only 2 questions. 14 plus 14, how much? 28 marks you have written. How many marks you will get? 35 marks you will get. Okay, MCQs you have written. Okay, na, 35 marks you will get. Okay, na. The main reason is you need to select the questions. The easy questions you need to select. Within a less time they need to complete. What is the main target, ma? We need to select the questions less time, within a less time we need to complete a more time, less time. Okay na? The less time it will take for these topics. Which are the topics it will take less time? BRS, rectification of errors. What is the meaning of rectification of error? We need to pass one entry, that's all. They will give 5 transactions. We need to pass 5 journal entries. It is a less time, or taking a trading account, P&L account, balance sheet, it is a less time. Okay na? Writing entries is the less time. That means we have to target the chapters. Which chapters we need to target? Within a less time we need to get the more marks. Within a less time we need to get the more marks. We should not select like that. We should not select the topics which are more marks, more time. Okay na? While writing examination, first you should not write the single entry. First you should not write the partnership. Okay na? The last preference we have to give the single entry. Last preference we have to give the partnership. First you need to write the small questions like depreciation, BRS, rectification of errors, hire purchase, insurance claim. These are the small topics we have to learn. Must and should we have to learn these topics. Then only we will get a good marks exemption in this paper. Okay na? Only reading of single entry, only reading of practicing of partnership. Okay na? Okay, we are not going to leave these topics also. We will learn, but the at most important we have to give to the which topics? Small topics will get a more marks. Okay now, if you neglect these topics while going to the examination, okay, if you lose this one, that means totally you will leave the second question and third question. Remaining 5 questions you need to write. Remaining how many questions you need to write? 5 questions. For this, minimum to minimum 45 minutes. For partnership, minimum to minimum 45 minutes. Okay na, minimum. Or a student will take extra 15 minutes. That means totally 2 hours will be completed only for the single entry and partnership. A remaining question when we will write? Are you getting my point? Okay na. So for that reason you should not neglect the question number 2 and question number 3. If you are neglecting the question number 2 and 3 only because of not having any basics knowledge. If you know the basics, you have to target these 2 questions. If you write these 2 questions, the remaining paper will be very easy. Nearly we are getting how many marks my year? 14 plus 14, how many? 28 marks. Completed 30 marks. 10 MCQs pass. 5 MCQs 10 marks. Pass era leda. Easily we can pass. If you write the second question and third question. Okay na. If you leaving the second question and third question while going into the examination means definitely will fail. Even though you know the partnership, even though you know the single entry, even though you know the standards perfectly also, you will get with end up negative result only. Why ma? Because just you have leave the question number 2 and question number 3. Because these 2 questions within 45 minutes we can write. 2 questions, that means 28 marks we can write within 45 minutes. 2 questions within 45 minutes is the best option. 2 questions within 2 hours is the best option. 2 questions within 45 minutes is the best option. Okay, now why I am saying is, the outside perception will be how it will be means, they will not discuss the basics. They will directly start with the single entry. They will directly start with the hire purchase. Okay, now they will not teach the basics. Why ma? Because these are the topics are already repeated in foundation. But in the foundation level, you have learned the objectives, but you did not solve the question. Okay na? Here they will give the MCQs, questions. Definitely in the financial accounting, everyone must teach what ma? Basics. Then only the student will get 70, 80 plus. Otherwise the student will not pass in this paper. This is my perception. Okay na? So I am giving a clear explanation to you why I am discussing the basics. Okay na? You may not get why once again the sir is discussing the basics. We don't know the business, we don't know what is the meaning of goods, we know the meaning of asset. Why again the sir is discussing? The meaning of asset will be again repeated in AS10. Without journal entries, you cannot pass the subsidiary books. You cannot do the subsidiary books. Without subsidiary books, we cannot do the rectification of errors. There is a link between 1 and 2. Okay now. And again, without basics, you cannot go to solve the single entry. Without accounts, If you know the accounts of asset account, debtors account, creditor account, next bills receivable, bills payable, income account, expenses account, then only you can solve the single entry, then only you can solve the NPO. Otherwise, you cannot solve the single entry, otherwise, you cannot solve the NPO. So, we need to learn the accounts. Which are the accounts we need to learn? Asset account. In asset account, how many transactions will be there? Next, in the debtor account, how many transactions will be there? Next, creditor account, income account, expenditure account. All the things you need to learn in a conceptual manner or in a mug-up manner. In a conceptual manner only you should learn. So that's why only I am starting with the which approach, modern approach. For that reason, modern approach will be a very conceptual when compared to the traditional approach. Traditional approach means personal account, real account, and nominal account. Okay, na guys. Next, we have discussed all the things. Asset. Asset means what, ma? A resources utilized by the business in order to generation of future revenues. We can utilize the asset for production purpose, administration purpose, rental purpose, and rendering of a services purpose. Here, these premises we can use for rendering a service. Yes or no? We are providing the education. You are utilizing the building. Even in this situation, we have taken a rent of building. Imagine this building is our own. We are running an organization called as Shikara Tutorials. At this point of time, building is called as asset. We can render the services, we cannot render the services. We can. In the same building, there is admin staff. Okay, now we are using for administration purpose. Imagine the same building we are producing the books. That means the same building we are using for production purpose. Next one, production rent. In the same building, staff will be stayed in the one room. What are the faculties are going to teach you? One floor they are staying for the house. Okay, now from the faculties we are going to collect the rent. That means we are using for rental purpose, not rental purpose. That means the same building we can use for production purpose, rental purpose, administration purpose, and rendering of a services. This is the main perception of the asset. What is the meaning of asset? Asset can be utilized for any purpose in order for generation of future revenues. Next one. What is the next concept, Amma? Different types of assets. Mainly the assets are classified into how many types? Two types. First type is called as what, ma? Fixed asset is also called as non-current asset. Benefit will be more than 1 year, less than 1 year. Benefit will be more than 1 year. Intention to use more than 1 year. It is called as a non-current asset. Again, the non-current asset is classified into how many types? Three types: tangible asset, intangible asset, and vesting assets. So tangible asset means which we can see and touch. Building is a tangible asset, goodwill is a intangible asset. Okay, now with an intention to use more than 1 year. What is the meaning of vesting asset? Created by the natural resources, it is called as a vesting asset. Example, oil wells, coal mines, etc. For that also we are getting a benefit more than 1 year, less than 1 year. Benefit more than 1 year, but created by the natural resources. This is called as vesting assets. Next one, current assets, nothing but with an intention to use less than 1 year, are easily convertible into cash. Okay, na? Within a less time easily convertible into cash is called as current asset. Within a 3 months convertible into cash means liquid assets. More than 3 months, less than 1 year means non-liquid asset. Another asset is called as fictitious asset. It will be discussed in further classes. Now in this situation you may not understand this meaning. Okay, na guys? So these are the types of assets. What are the types of assets, ma? Current assets and non-current assets. Non-current asset again classified into how many types? 3 types. So tangible assets, intangible assets, and vesting assets. Tangible means which we can see and touch. Intangible means which we cannot see and touch. Vesting means created by natural resources. Intention to use more than 1 year. Okay, now next, easily convertible into cash. It will take time. It will take time. Easily convertible into cash means current asset, less than 3 months. Liquid assets, more than 3 months, less than 1 year. Non-liquid assets. Okay, non-liquid asset example is called as closing stock. What is the meaning of closing stock? The goods which you have purchased with an intention to resale, those goods are left for left, we are not sold. Okay, now left at the end of the year is called as a closing stock. Imagine you have purchased 1000 units. How many units, ma? 1000 units. In these 1000 units, 900 goods were sold in the current year. How many goods were sold? 900. Still, how many goods are left? 100 units. This 100 units is called as closing stock. It will be sold in the next year. Within 3 months we can sold, or within 1 year we can sold. That means it is a liquid asset or non-liquid asset. Non-liquid asset. Liquid asset means must and should less than 3 months. Next one. What is the meaning of liability? Obligation to repay. How many types of liabilities are there? What are the liabilities? Internal liabilities, external liabilities. Internal liability means capital, because capital will be repaid only at the time of winding up. Here, amount payable by the proprietor. So please rectify this one. Amount payable to the proprietor. Amount payable to the proprietor at the time of winding up of an organization. It is called as what ma? Capital as well as profits. Next one. External means other than capital is called as external liabilities. We can call it as outside liabilities. We can call it as what ma? Outside liabilities. Other than capital is called as outside. Outside liabilities are classified into how many types? 2 types. Long-term liabilities, short-term liabilities. Long-term means more than 1 year we need to repay. Short-term means less than 1 year we need to repay. Next, what is the meaning of revenue? Income. What is the meaning of revenue ma? Income. Nothing but general definition of revenue is called as sales, turnover. Next, what is the meaning of expenses? Amount spent to run the business is called as an expenses. Okay, na example rent, salaries, electricity, advertisement. Okay, na there are so many. Next, what ma? Maintenance expenses. Okay, na all the things is called as what ma? Expenses. We are incurring for the purpose of business, only for the purpose of. Okay, na owner is paying the school fee for their children. It is also expenses. It is not an expense. Okay, na that expense incurring for the purpose of personal purpose, not for the purpose of business. We need to incur the expenses for the purpose of business. Easy, then only we can call it as what ma? Expenses. Otherwise we are not going to call it as expenses. So here the amount can be spent. Amount can be spent either for the production purpose, administration purpose, selling and distribution purpose, and financial purpose. What is the meaning of production purpose, sir? In order to produce a particular product, we need a raw material. For example, imagine we have started the tea shop. Okay, na for the tea shop or coffee shop or cafe. Imagine we have taken a Kumbakonam coffee shop franchises. You know the Kumbakonam coffee shop? Is there any idea? No, na. Okay. We are having the tea branches, like what are the 3 tea branches we are having? Tea types. Okay, we have taken a franchise of tea type. Okay, in order to start a tea, what we need, what are the requirements we need ma? We need to purchase the raw material requirement for the tea. First one is called as milk, water, tea powder, etc. Okay, na these are the things we are purchasing for production and then resale. Okay, na and then user resale amma, resale. So this type of expenses is called as production purpose expenses. Okay, na this is an expenses income expenses. Purchase of raw material. What is the first one ma? Purchase of raw material. Wages we are paying for the production. We need a labor. For them we will pay the daily wages. Okay, na next, royalty on the basis of production. Okay, na sometimes we will take the royalty. Royalty means what? We have taken what? Franchise of tea types. We need to pay what ma? Royalty. Okay, now without paying the royalty, they will give the franchise. They will not give the franchise. This type of expenses we are paying what ma? For production purpose. Next one, administration purpose. Administration means come to the here. Come to here. Administration. Okay, na we are doing what ma? We are providing the education service. In order to provide education service, we need to pay what? Salaries, rent, rates and taxes. Municipal taxes we will pay na. So that thing is called as what ma? Rates and taxes. Next, selling and distribution. In order to sell a particular product, what we need to give ma? Advertisement. Next, carriage outward. Carriage outward means from factory to outside. Carriage inward means from purchase place to factory. Next, financial purpose means we have taken a loan. In order to start a business, we have taken a loan. On that loan, what we need to do? We need to pay the interest. Here the interest is called as a financial expenses. Dividend is also called as financial expenses. What is the meaning of dividend? Okay, in the company point of view, if you are getting a profits, means we need to distribute the dividend to the owners. Okay, na? That thing is also called as financial purpose or what ma? Financial purpose. We are taking amount from the shareholders and then we are giving return in the form of dividends. Okay, na? Next. These are all called as what ma? What is the meaning of expenses? Expenses can be used for production purpose, administration purpose, selling and distribution purpose, and financial purpose. Are you getting the point? Administration purpose means raw material. Next one, wages, royalty, etc. Administration means rent, salary, etc. Next, selling and distribution means advertisement, carries outward, etc. Financial purpose means interest and dividend. So these all the meaning is called as what ma? Expenses. Why we are learning all the meanings? We learn the asset meaning, we have learned the liability meaning, then after income and expenses. Here the income and expenses will be helpful for to find out the profit or loss. Okay, now without income and expenses we can find out the profit or loss, or we cannot find out the profit or loss. We cannot find out the profit or loss. In the financial accounting or accounting point of view, what ma? If you take the basic objectives of accounts, the basic objectives. There are two basic objectives. First objective is called as why we need to prepare the accounts, sir. Even though without preparation of accounts we can find out the profit, we cannot find out. We can find out. Okay, now, at the initial stage we have discussed. We have taken example of Atma. We are in a cultivation of tomatoes. After cultivating the tomatoes, we are sold in the market. We can easily identify. But why we need to prepare this one, sir? In the case of large number of transactions, more and more number of transactions, it is difficult to I remembering all the things. Okay, now if there is only 4 type of transactions, means we can remember and we can solve the and we can estimate the profit or loss. But imagine we are having a n number of transactions, n number of business transactions, n number of incomes, expenses, purchase of assets, sale of assets. At that point of time, we can remember or we cannot remember. We cannot remember, but we should note down it. What we need to do, ma? We need to note down. Okay, now we are note downing in a systematic manner. That system is called as double entry system. The system is called as double entry. Okay, keep it aside. Objectives of accounts. The basic two objectives. Objectives of accounts means what, ma? Why we need to create the accounts? Why we need to follow this accounting subject? Means to find out financial result. To find out the financial result. Next one is called as what, ma? To find out financial position. What is the first basic objective? To find out the financial result. Financial result means what, ma? Either profit or loss. Okay, na? In order to find out the profit or loss, what are the requirements? Incomes and expenses. In order to find out the profit or loss, what are the two basic requirements? Incomes and expenses. Are you getting the point? What is the meaning of objective of accounts? Why we need to learn accounts. మనం అకౌంట్స్ ఎందుకు నేర్చుకోవాలి? వై వీ నీడ్ టు లర్న్ అకౌంట్స్ మీన్స్ టు ఫైండ్ అవుట్ ద ఫినాన్షియల్ రిజల్ట్ అండ్ టు ఫైండ్ అవుట్ ద ఫినాన్షియల్ పొజిషన్. ఓకే, ఫినాన్షియల్ పొజిషన్ వీ కెన్ డిస్కస్ ఇన్ సమ్ అదర్ క్లాస్. వాట్ ఈస్ ద మీనింగ్ ఆఫ్ ఫైనాన్షియల్ రిజల్ట్ అమ్మా? టు ఐడెంటిఫై ప్రాఫిట్ ఆర్ లాస్, to identify the profit or loss from the business. In order to identify the profit or loss, what are the requirements? To identify profit or loss, To identify profit or loss, we need incomes and expenses. What are the two basic objectives? First objective is called as to find out the financial result. Next, to find out the financial position. What is the meaning of financial position, sir? We are having the two types of financial position, whether we are able to repay the liabilities or whether we are not able to repay the liabilities. Okay, na? This is called as financial position. What is the meaning of financial position, ma? We are in a capacity of the repayment of liabilities, or we are in a not in a capacity of repayment of liabilities. This is called as this thing we can know with the help of balance sheet. Okay, na? This profit or loss we can know. We can identify with the help of. We can identify profit or loss by way of preparation of which account, amma? Trading and profit or loss account. By way of preparation of trading and profit or loss account. This is the basic objective to find out the financial result. What is the meaning of financial result? To find out the profit or loss. We can find out the profit or loss with the help of incomes and expenses. Okay, now next one. To find out the financial position means we are in a capability of repayment, we are in a not capability of repayment of liabilities. This means we are having the two types of situations. Two types of positions we can call it as. How many types of positions, ma? Two types. Solvent position, insolvent position. What is the meaning of solvent? Solvent means good or bad, amma? Solvent means good position. Insolvent means bad. When will be the good, amma? We are in a capability of repayment, we are in a not capability of repayment. Okay, how we will repay, ma? How we will repay? By way of selling the assets in the market. By way of selling the assets in the market. Imagine we are having the assets, book value will be different and realizable value will be different. What is the meaning of realizable value? Market value. Okay, now in the books we can show 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs like that. Why will show, ma? Because we will revalue the assets. We will revalue. Sometimes we can show the book value the less, because what, ma? We may get income tax problems like that. Okay, now sometimes we will show more, sometimes we will show less. The book value is totally different. We should not compare with the book value. We should compare with the realizable value. Okay, now the realizable value of assets should be more than liabilities. Should be more than liabilities. The situation is called as solvent or insolvent. Solvent. What is the meaning of insolvent? The realizable value of assets less than liabilities is called as insolvent position. We can identify the solvent or insolvent position by way of preparation of balance sheet. By way of preparation of balance sheet. What is the meaning of solvent, ma? Solvent means good or bad? Good. So how we can say it is solvent, ma? The realizable value of assets, should be more or should be lesser? Should be more. More means more than symbol. Should be more than liabilities. Realizable value of assets should be more than liabilities. What is the meaning of situation, ma? Here bad means same or opposite? Opposite. Opposite means should be more than or less than. Should be more than or less than amma? Should be less than liabilities. Okay, guys, are you getting the point? The realizable value of assets is more than liabilities means solvent or insolvent? Solvent. The realizable value of assets is less than liabilities means insolvent. Okay, now good. Here we can identify this position with the help of. We can identify these situations with the help of preparation of balance sheet. So these are the basic two objectives. Okay, now up to today's class, we have discussed about the terminologies. What are the terminologies we have discussed? Business. Next, then after goods, services. Next, then after capital, drawings. Next, then after assets, types of assets, liabilities, types of liabilities. Then we have discussed about the objectives of accounting. What are the two basic objectives? First, we need to identify to find out the financial result, to find out the financial position. Financial result means either profit or loss. We can identify the profit or loss by way of preparation of trading or P&L account. We can identify the financial position by way of preparation of balance sheet. In order to identify the financial position, what are the requirements? Assets and liabilities. So how many positions are there? Two positions. Solvent position, insolvent position. Solvent means good, insolvent means bad. The realizable value of assets are more than liabilities means it is called as solvent position. The realizable value of assets are less than liabilities means it is called as insolvent position. Realizable value means what ma? Market value. Realizable value means what ma? Market value. So this is how we have completed the main discussion of what ma? What are the objectives of accounting? And I have also discussed the topic of what? In which question, which chapters will be covered. How many marks we can get from the foundation? 50 marks. Okay, now minimum to minimum how many? 50 marks. So don't fear. Easily we can get how many marks ma? 80 marks in the examination. The only thing you need to follow what ma? Regular attendance, cumulative revision, writing the weekend exams. Sufficient. If you follow these three steps, you can get a rank also. You can get what ma? Rank in CMA Inter. So thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.